And so, now you are about to learn the truth about what really happened. In 2017, Japan was shocked by one of the most disturbing criminal cases in its modern history. What began as the disappearance of a young woman soon uncovered a series of crimes so horrifying that the entire country struggled to believe it was real. This dark story unfolded near Tokyo in Kanagawa Prefecture. At first, it seemed like just another missing person case, but soon investigators would discover something far more terrifying. The central figure in the story was a 23-year-old woman named Tamura Aiko from the city of Hachioji. Tamura lived a quiet and rather lonely life. After finishing high school, she never continued her education. Her parents divorced, and she stayed with her mother. Friends described her as withdrawn and sensitive. In May 2017, tragedy struck. Her mother died after a serious illness. For Tamura, this loss was devastating. She struggled emotionally and was eventually diagnosed with schizophrenia. Her mental state worsened so much that she required treatment in a psychiatric clinic. Even though they lived separately, her older brother tried to support her through messages on social media. He constantly encouraged her and hoped that little by little, her life would begin to improve. For a while, it seemed like things were getting better. But in October 2017, Tamura suddenly disappeared. At first, her brother thought she simply needed time alone, but after several days without any contact, he began to panic. Worried about her fragile mental state, he decided to check her social media accounts, hoping to find some clue about where she might be. What he discovered gave him chills. Weeks earlier, Tamura had posted a disturbing message online. She wrote that she wanted to die, but not alone. In the post, she asked if someone would join her for a joint suicide. Among the responses, one message stood out. The sender offered his apartment and suggested they meet. 3 weeks later, Tamura finally responded. Her message was short and desperate. "We can do it today," she wrote, that she only had a small amount of money and asked where they should meet. Her brother immediately feared the worst. He posted a missing person message through her account and described the mysterious man who had contacted her. Soon after, he reported the disappearance to the police. Investigators quickly found the first clue. Security cameras showed Tamura at Hachioji Station on October 23rd at 1:45 p.m. She was accompanied by a thin young man with shoulder-length black hair. The two boarded a train and traveled toward a station called Sobudai Mai in Kanagawa Prefecture. Just after 2 p.m., they arrived there. Later that evening, both of them disappeared from the station. Days later, a woman contacted Tamura's account online. She said that she had also been speaking with the same man and arranged to meet him at the same station on October 30th. Realizing the danger, police organized an undercover operation. Instead of the woman, officers went to the meeting point and waited. Soon, they spotted the man from the security footage. He appeared to be waiting for someone. Officers quietly followed him as he walked back to a nearby 2-story building just 750 meters from the station. When he entered his apartment, the police approached the door. Even before it opened, they smelled something terrible. A strong, sickening odor was coming from inside. When officers finally entered the apartment, the scene they discovered was horrifying. Tamura's brother immediately noticed her white bag. When the police asked the man where Tamura was, he silently pointed toward a cooler box. Inside the apartment, investigators found several large containers. When they opened them, they discovered something almost impossible to comprehend. Inside were human remains, 8 boxes filled with dismembered body parts. Human heads, arms, legs, and hundreds of bone fragments were hidden under layers of cat litter. The smell of decomposition was overwhelming. Police also found a saw, scissors, ropes, and other tools used to cut the bodies apart. In total, investigators discovered remains belonging to 9 different victims. One of them was a man, the rest were young women between the ages of 15 and 26. Many of them had struggled with mental health issues and posted about suicidal thoughts online. The man living in the apartment was immediately arrested. His name was Takahiro Shiraishi. He was 27 years old and unemployed. Shiraishi had created several fake accounts on social media where he searched for vulnerable people who were expressing thoughts about suicide. He would contact them, pretend to sympathize, and offer to help them die together. Instead, he invited them to his apartment. There, he strangled them. After killing them, he dismembered the bodies and stored the remains in boxes and coolers inside the apartment. Investigators later learned that Shiraishi had been committing these crimes for months. His first victim was a 21-year-old woman named Mizuki Miura, whom he met online. He convinced her to lend him money and later invited him to his apartment. There, she drugged him and strangled her. After the murder, he spent days cutting the body apart in the bathroom. When the smell became too strong, he tried to hide it using ice and cat litter. But instead of stopping, he continued. One by one, more victims appeared. A 15-year-old schoolgirl, a 20-year-old young man, several women struggling with personal crises. All of them had one thing in common. They expressed despair online, and Shiraishi was waiting for them. By the time police entered his apartment in October 2017, 9 lives had already been lost. The case shocked Japan. Many people asked the same question: how could someone commit so many murders in such a short time without anyone noticing? The trial began in Tokyo in 2020. During the hearings, Shiraishi openly confessed to the murders. He admitted that he had targeted people who wanted to die because he believed they would be easier to manipulate. On December 15, 2020, the court delivered its verdict. Takahiro Shiraishi was sentenced to death. The horrifying case later became known as the story of the Twitter killer. It forced social media platforms in Japan to change their rules and remove content related to suicide and self-harm. But for the families of the victims, the damage had already been done. 9 lives had been lost, and a story that began with a desperate message online ended in one of the darkest criminal cases in modern Japanese history. Friends, what do you think about this story? Write your thoughts in the comments